and welcome to Kaleidoscope. I'm Uche Aluku. Coming up on the program, it's a new chapter in the history of foremost indigenous oil and gas exploration and production company, Seplat, with a change in leadership from the founding chief executive officer, Austin Avuru, after 10 years of growing the company into an industry leader. We'll speak with the chairman of Seplat, Dr. Brian Tojako, about the company's achievements and impacts in society over the years. Also on the program, electronic payments and commerce company Interswitch contributes to raising the next generation of science and technology trailblazers through its CSR project, Interswitch Spark. And we'll speak with the group managing director and founder of Interswitch on the motivation behind the company's signature CSR project, Interswitch Spark. It's nice to have you join us for another episode of Kaleidoscope. We begin with a change of leadership at Seplat Petroleum Development Company, an indigenous oil and gas exploration and production company. After 10 years of numerous successes in the oil and gas industry under the leadership of the founding CEO, Austin Avuru, the company is looking to a new era with even more outstanding milestones.
Nigeria's oil and gas industry is dominated by a few international oil companies. Thriving alongside is Seplat Petroleum Development Company, an independent indigenous Nigerian oil and gas exploration and production organization. Seplat was formed in 2009 in response to the divestment program by IOCs with a focus on upstream oil and gas opportunities in Nigeria. Under the leadership of the founding chief executive officer, Mr. Austin Avuru, the company has recorded many successes over the years and is today a leading supplier of gas to the domestic market. Austin Avuru, a co-founder, was appointed Chief Executive Officer of Seplat on May 1, 2010. Given his academic background in petroleum engineering and numerous leadership positions in the oil and gas industry, he steered the team in blazing the trail for other indigenous oil and gas companies to follow. Seplat's latest milestone is its 10-year anniversary, which coincides with the change of baton in the company's leadership from Austin Avuru, the outgoing CEO, to Roger Brown, the new Chief Executive Officer, commemorated at its inaugural Energy Summit. After 10 years of leading the company, Mr. Austin Avuru believes the same qualities that sustain the company will serve as a foundation for more successes.
You know, in the beginning there were doubts. I'm not sure even me 10 years ago, or even Dr. Ibisi Ojako would have thought that what we set out to build is what we're seeing today. Because we really didn't have anything to learn from or copy from. We're not operating in an environment where you already see a lot of corporates where governance is taken for granted. So every time we looked over our shoulders, we're not seeing anybody to copy from. So we had to build internally and build all on our own and set examples and set the pace and set milestones for ourselves without really looking up to anybody to copy from. But in the end, after 10 years, I think we are all proud of what we managed to build.
Seplat's achievements in the oil and gas industry is closely linked to its commitment to contributing to societal goals, especially in its host communities through corporate social responsibility projects in numerous areas, including infrastructure development, education and healthcare, among others. In many communities, the company provides free healthcare services to community dwellers. Seplat Petroleum Development Company aims to keep impacting lives and Nigeria's oil and gas industry by becoming the biggest gas supplier in the country, among other targets.
I spoke with the chairman of Seplat, Dr. Brian Tojako, about the company's successes in the oil and gas industry and giving back to society.
You know, CSR, and I like to define what we mean, what we understand, and how we implement CSR. CSR is really giving back, not from your extras and excesses, but to give back to society from substance, meaning that you identify the fact that for you to operate, for your business to be sustainable, you must take areas you operate as a major part of the stakeholder community. And when you do this, you win the confidence of the people. So this is completely different from what we do from our General Memorandum of Understanding, GMOU. which gives you the freedom to operate. So, but what our CSR does is that it dedicates a certain percentage of the earnings we make as a company, we dedicate it towards impacting the community. And when we come to any community, and indeed even beyond the communities where we operate, we did a very clear, well-articulated need assessment in all of these areas. And during our operations, it became clear to us that the real areas to invest in from our corporate social responsibility standpoint were areas of education, areas of health, and areas of empowerment. Therefore, you would have seen from the records that Seplat embraced two main areas in health. We focused on maternal care and child care. When we launched the Safe Motherhood program, it was targeted to address the high maternal and infant mortality. And we're happy to say that we have reached out through this program several tens of thousands of pregnant women and children in areas where we operate. This is very well received. Another area of health that we've looked at, we also found out there is a very high and prevalent cases of various kinds of eye problems, be it cataract, be it glaucoma, and most of these are related to other diseases like diabetes and the rest of them. So in the process of encouraging that people will have access to medical treatment, we launched what you call the I Can See program. Through this program, we set up areas where we reach out to the communities. We actually take this to the communities and identify and diagnose various forms of eye diseases, treat some of them that we can treat through medication, and give some of them glasses, and actually perform surgeries. Again, we've reached out to very many tens of thousands of patients in this program. You can see in our website, some of them are so overwhelmed. Some people who believe that they were blind, just by doing simple cataract extraction, make them see. And it really is very fulfilling for us. Another area we then embraced is the area of education, because really, education is the key platform for any nation to develop. So we then focused that for us to really contribute towards the development of the society at large, we need to address education. And in addressing education, we went really to the basics. We reached the secondary schools, where we encourage children to come out. We launched what we call the Pearl Quiz, which really brings students from all various secondary schools and send them into competition. It builds their confidence. We test them in areas of mathematics and science. And that we are now graduating to another level where we want to partner with relevant organizations to promote science, technology, and mathematics and art education. That is the next phase of that program. And the whole essence is that we want to contribute to bringing, especially in areas where we operate, to train capable hands, educated community that can embrace not just the world of unemployment, but to create a situation where we bring youths who are really employable. That's one aspect, because we don't believe that, especially areas where we operate, we want to train the engineers, the geologists who will come and work, as opposed to having only drivers and gatemen from the areas where we operate. Another area that we're really working and doing quite a lot of things in our CSR is the area of skill development. And once we train the youths particularly on right skill acquisition, we then put them into the job creating market. That's where empowerment comes in. We train them in various skills. Today, we're happy to say that we have a lot of community contractors who have held their hands, trained them, show them the skills, and they're delivering just like any other contractor would have found somewhere else. So for us, our CSR is one area of fulfillment for Seplat, and we can only look to the future and be happy that we did it, and we're very happy to improve and even do more.
Give us an idea of how much the company spends on CSR annually, especially for a year like this where the COVID-19 pandemic has really impacted communities negatively.
On an annual basis, and you can find this in our website, and every year we report this in an annual report, we spend several hundreds of millions of naira every year in corporate social responsibility programs. And if you check cumulatively, the real message is the real impact, and you see the figures of how many people we have touched. So that is it's an ongoing basis. Like I spoke about in the beginning, we spent a substantial amount of our earnings in CSR. Now, for this year in particular, because no one anticipated COVID-19 pandemic, but when it then happened, we rose up to the occasion, and we made sure that both the people who work for the company are protected. And in doing that, we made sure that every narrative you hear in social distances were implemented. We shut down our offices, but we maintained operations in the fields. But in maintaining that operation in the fields, for example, we made sure that all of the people working there work in a very safe and secure environment. We didn't leave the communities alone. We reached out to the communities, we reached out to the kings, and we reached out to the community leaders, and came right proactively and told them that COVID is real. We spoke to them and made sure that they cooperated with the NCDC rules. Therefore, and we're doing this, we provided palliatives. The palliatives to the communities included sanitizers, included soaps, included, of course, talking to them about wearing of masks and the rest of them. We also knew at the time that the lockdown meant that many of them didn't have access to food and nutrition. So we provided food items as well. And we covered all the states where we operated and the communities. We were there in Delta State, we were in Edo State, and we were also in Imo State. And this is just for the first phase of our intervention. And of course, working with our joint venture partners, you may have also seen that we went to Imo State. Apart from doing something that is transient in the palliative, we then took a bold step to go to Imo State to do the groundbreaking ceremony for a $1.2 million investment in a pure hospital structure that will then cater for prevention of communicable diseases, not just COVID, but the rest of communicable diseases. That's a very bold statement we've made with our partners, that we identify with the health implications of COVID, and that we identify with the long-term healthcare services delivery in the communities.
So what's next for Seplat?
Next for Seplat is to continue to embrace our business, knowing that the way and manner business is done in the oil and gas industry has changed. We are embracing all the innovations that are very environmentally friendly. We're embracing all aspects to make sure that we deliver the right type of energy. We make money as a company, deliver profits to shareholders, but be very protective of all stakeholders in line with the dictates of the climate change advocacy.
The management of Seplat says it remains committed to increasing its impact in the oil and gas industry. And for the new Chief Executive Officer, Roger Brown, he says he's ready to work with the team to achieve more successes in the coming years.
Let me just say that it is a true honor to be entrusted to lead this great company. And Austin has done an excellent job in really creating what we see today within Seplat. I joined the company in 2013, so just a little over 7 years at Seplat, and when I was announced as the CEO, it was the proudest moment of my working career. You know, Seplat is a great company, so I think the opportunity set is plentiful. The challenges are definitely there, but with a great team, which I have at Seplat, I know that we can surmount those challenges and really move forward and grow this business.
When we return, another indigenous company that's also dominating in its industry, talking of Interswitch and the digital payments and e-commerce market. We'll see what the industry leader is doing to give back to society. Please stay with us. Welcome back to the program. Now, 1 month's vision to change Africa's electronic payments landscape led to the establishment of Interswitch, an integrated digital payments and commerce company. Today, the company is not only providing e-payment solutions, but is also encouraging the next generation of science and technology trailblazers through its CSR project, Interswitch Spark.
Integrated digital payments and commerce company Interswitch is a market leader in electronic payments with a focus on Africa. The company was founded in 2002 by Mitchell Elegbe with a drive to innovate payment products and services tailored to the African market. Today, the company boasts a payments network of more than 100 financial institutions linking East and West Africa and over 11,000 automated teller machines on its network. Given its footprint and success in Nigeria and other countries where it operates, the company adopted a mechanism to give back by contributing to raising the next generation of science and technology trailblazers.
The Interswitch Spark initiative was made possible by some people who believe in science, education, and the future generation.
That's the purpose of Interswitch Spark National Science Competition, a television contest which identifies, supports, and rewards high school students in the field of STEM in Africa.
We decided at Interswitch that if we could get youths to take an interest in STEM, in science, in technology, engineering, and mathematics, perhaps we could assist them with the kind of critical reasoning, the analytical abilities that are required to solve the numerous challenges of Africa. And this is what has led Interswitch to Interswitch Spark.
Since its debut in 2017, the annual initiative has been encouraging more students to embrace science and technology with the aim of encouraging young bright minds who will create Africa's solutions, which is at the heart of what Interswitch represents in the digital payment space in Africa.
We have joining us the Group Managing Director and Founder of Interswitch, Mr. Mitchell Elegbe. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Good day. Thank you for having me on the program.
Indeed, it's a pleasure. E-commerce is an inevitable part of life for many in today's world. In Nigeria, Interswitch provides the bulk of e-payment platforms for millions of users. But let's go back to 2002 when it all started and trace how the company evolved into what it is today.
Thank you. 2002, clearly almost 17 years ago, looked very different from what Nigeria is today. Back then in 2002, it was common for people to go to bank branches, queue up, collect tally numbers. It was common for people to be in traffic on their way home on Friday and they are robbed because there's this assumption that being weekend, most people would have gone to the banks to withdraw cash. It was common for people to give their bosses excuses about going to the banks, only not to return because of the long queue, and so on and so forth. Today, that is very different. Today, you can get cash just in time from any ATM, from any agent across the country. Today, you can transfer money in real time to anyone using your mobile phone. You can use as much as 7 channels to carry out financial transactions. And the interesting thing is that when you do this, the impact is immediate, so it's instantaneous. So we really come a long way, and I think it is safe to say that Interswitch played a pivotal role in making this happen. Of course, there are many players now, but the foundations for what you would call modern real-time electronic payments is something that I will proudly say that Interswitch championed in this country.
Now, embedded in policies of thriving companies are mechanisms for giving back to society. For Interswitch, the Interswitch Spark project encourages high school students in the area of STEM. I want to find out what informed the choice of this project.
Okay, so people call it CSR, people call it give back, and so on and so forth. But I think in Interswitch, we appreciate the fact that Nigeria has been good to us. There are lots of challenges, but somehow, despite these challenges, we have been able to build what we would like to call a world-class organization coming from this environment. And so normally you want to do a few things, you want to give back. So a few years ago, Interswitch decided we cannot be something to everyone. Let's pick 2 or 3 areas that we think we'd like to focus on and make contributions in those areas. So we thought about leadership, we thought about entrepreneurship, and we talked about education. Interswitch Spark fits into the third bucket of education. And the thinking behind Interswitch Spark is that we really want to drive interest in young people in STEM education, in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Now, that is not to say other subjects are not important. Don't get me wrong, they are. But what you're basically saying that we understand as a technology company ourselves the potential for science, technology, engineering, and maths to transform society. And we think it is important that our youths pay serious attention to this area. Now, in an environment today where all sorts of things are being done in social media, there's a likelihood that areas like science, technology, and engineering and maths could easily suffer. And so what Interswitch tried to do was to make that thing attractive to students. And Interswitch Spark, where we are trying to push the whole thinking of speed, precision, accuracy, and knowledge, which is what Spark means, we feel that's one area that we need to focus on and help grow interest in STEM subjects. But beyond growing interest in STEM subjects, there are other activities we carry out. In the past, we used to be part of Exposure Robotics, where we basically trying to introduce very young Nigerians at the secondary stage into robotics. That we did for quite some years until that program fizzled out. We currently do some work with a group that basically focuses on education for what we call the less privileged ones in our society, slum to school. So we do support them, and we basically have given a computer lab to them to allow children from schools in our communities that may not have access to modern computer facilities to be able to go to the slum to school computer facility to basically use that. So we do that a lot on the Spark side of things, the education side of things. On the entrepreneurship side of things, there are quite a few things we do. For example, we are members of Endeavor, where we basically support younger entrepreneurs to make sense of their business models. Leadership is an area we try to get involved in, mostly from individual capacity. We try to encourage every staff of Interswitch to get involved in one form of leadership activity or the other.
Could you briefly tell us how much Interswitch spends on these CSR projects on an annual basis?
I don't have the figure offhand, but I can tell you for Interswitch Spark alone, we spend over $1 million for that. So I can easily say that we spend north of over $1 million on CSR every year.
Thank you so much, sir. It's been a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you.
And that's this week's episode. Thank you for watching. Let's stay connected on social media. Follow us on Twitter at CTV Kaleidoscope or send an email to kaleidoscope@channelstv.com. I'm Uche Aluku, and as always, I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.